good-looking Australian man. Well, like a Kiwi Australian. Do you identify as an Australian or a Kiwi, Dave?
After 20 years here, mate, we have got a foot in each camp, the way I look at it. We've got 2 young Kiwi children, but heart may still be at home with the family.
Excellent. If you're joining us on today's live, we are having conversations with Dr. David Kay, who's a chiropractor from Dynamic Chiropractic in Remuera. I'm used to thinking of saying somewhere else, but we'll get into that story a little later on. First of all, who is David Kay?
Who is David Kay? David Kay is an Australian, a very ochre Australian at heart, who has now moved over to New Zealand. We've been here for 20 years, so I'm just making sure I like the place before I commit to it, as you can see. And then we started a practice when we were over here, and he's also the father of 2 children, and he's a guy who just likes to do everything, whether it's flying airplanes or wakeboarding or fishing, getting out in the ocean, freediving. That's who David Kay is, and he's also a bloke who likes to stay fit and healthy, and that's why I love being in the health field, especially being a chiropractor.
And you really do have quite an active lifestyle. You're a member at our BNI group, and whenever you present your it's just all about family and activities. What are those favorite activities of yours?
Favorite activities would probably be the family, number one, because you can have heaps of fun with them. We spent a lot of time. I mean, on Sunday last week, I stood at the end of a swimming pool out in West Auckland and time kept for 10-year-olds. So that was a bit of a highlight. And my daughter got 7 personal bests, so you can't beat that for a Sunday out. Love the fishing, love the boat, love being out in the water. That's probably my happiest place. And of course, anything that involves a bit of fun, you won't find me far away.
And you said you came to New Zealand from Albury Wodonga, as I understand. Do you miss the what do they call it, the lucky country?
Being from a place called Albury Wodonga, I guess it's one of those sort of world's best kept secrets, because being there in Australia with so much space around you to grow up, what an opportunity that was. I mean, we were lucky. We grew up on 15 acres, which is not a massive place, but compared to living in the city, it is eons. And of course, we had a great relationship with our next door neighbours. They had this monstrous property with about 7 or 8 kilometres of river frontage. So we were always on the river, water skiing. Either we're trying to get up to the snow to go snow skiing. Where we were from, we weren't far from either. In fact, the river was across the road from our place, and the snow was an hour and a half, and we were clicking in. So yeah, I grew up very, very fortunate. I was one of 4 boys, and we always kept each other entertained and always worked pretty hard at the same time. But do I miss Australia? I miss the people. I miss the fun that we used to have. I don't want to idealise it, because I love being in New Zealand now. I've just listed off a whole bunch of things I love doing about out and about in New Zealand, and I quite often pinch myself that I'm so lucky and fortunate to be here. So yeah, you got to be happy in your skin is the way I think about it. And if you're not happy wherever you are, then quite often you got to look introspectively as opposed to your environs.
And you've got to be happy in your skin. You've got to be happy with your body, and your spine is kind of a critical piece of that thing of having things work. We're going to get into that. If you have any questions for Dr. David Kay about better spine or having your spine work, we're going to dive into some tips from David in just a moment. Before I do that, why did you choose to become a chiropractor? I always love those why stories. Is there a
why did I become a chiropractor? Chiropractic became endemic in our family, if I was to say that. My uncle is a chiropractor. I met a woman who's now my wife, Sherry. She's a chiropractor as well. She's one of 5, I think, or 7 in her family. I'm now the 4th in our family. So I've got an uncle, aunt, a cousin, and now myself. That's part of the passage into it. I loved being around people. I love knocking around, telling stories, hearing their stories. That's a big piece of any kind of job where you're helping or dealing with people, full stop. And so that was a big piece of it. Dad was a doctor. He he had a lot of people who just loved him. He became a bit of an idol of mine. I thought this is a fantastic position to aspire to. And then I went off to university. My first university degree was in genetics. And then from there, I know it was pretty deep. So we plumbed that depth. We did the genetics and the marine science. So that really didn't give me a qualification, anything. And so I ventured off and then became a pipe layer. And so from digging holes and installing conduit into trenches and telecom lines throughout New South Wales and Victoria, it gave me a bit of an insight as to what it's like to have a crook back. And that combined with wakeboarding and everything else we were doing, I got massive relief from what I was doing. From getting adjusted by a chiropractor so that I could keep doing all those other bits and pieces. So that's really where I the why as to why I became a chiropractor. Now that I'm into it, I'm really enjoying it because the analysis and the depth of to which we go in with patients is also very rewarding when you can get them such amazing results. So if I was to sum it up, chiropractic to help people because I was helped so much by myself, by my own experience.
So let's dive into that. Some of those stories. You must have a few stories of patients who have come to you with an ache or a pain, and then you've set them free. Can you give us some examples of what are the most common issues that people kind of come in with, and a story attached to that?
One of the most common things that people see us for are headaches, but not headaches where you think, okay, that's a nuisance. They're headaches where they're debilitating. They're headaches where somebody cannot function like they should. They can't go off and take their kids off to the playground, or they can't get out of bed to go to work maybe 2 or 3 mornings a week or a month or whatever it looks like. That is not a headache. That is a lifestyle interfering with affliction, and that's not fair. And so some of the things that we might see would be somebody who's had a history of an injury. And I might give you an example of somebody who came in just last week. This is a lady who is now 33. At 16, she was in a swimming pool and somebody jumped in, like kids do, but landed straight on her head. Now that puts a lot of axial strain straight through the top of your head, and it puts the neck in a really stressed position. Now, this is not exactly how it happens, but this is the way we explained it to this particular client. If you could imagine your spine's just twisted up, like in a Chinese burn, that's how sometimes your body feels. And when it's in that twisted, tight, taut position, that can really, really affect how the muscles balance themselves out and whether the muscles are pulling and tugging in the wrong position. So for a person like this, what we did is we started at the beginning. We went, right, what has helped in the past? And nothing has helped. So a big, long history of headaches is not a great place to start. She's had a sore upper part of the neck, sore lower part of the neck, headaches on the daily, which is, if you could imagine, a 23-year history of headaches is horrendous. But to the point where they think it's normal. They go, they're just normal headaches now. Well, no, it's not a normal headache. It's a common headache, and that's just not fair on you. So anyway, we've taken her up the chain, and we've taken some x-rays to see what damage was done at 16 years of age and see what we can do to at least restore what she's got. Some of these things can't be fixed, but if we can restore what she's actually got there, then we will see massive improvements in her life. And I've got to say, after 2 or 3 adjustments, we're really on the right track, which has been emotionally encouraging for her. She feels like she's grown a leg, which is great to be able to give someone that hope. That's pretty special. And selfishly, I get quite a buzz out of it. I don't know if I can be selfish in this industry, but if I was to get something back out of it, I'm really grateful to be able to offer that sort of assistance to people. And that makes me feel nice and warm.
But isn't that why people are in business? They generally want to make a difference, right?
I think if you're in business and you don't want to make a difference, you're in whatever business, well, you're in the wrong business. If you don't want to make a positive effect on people's lives, you're either a narcissist or a pathological personality. And we don't necessarily want those people in our lives, and they shouldn't be in business. Our job specifically, much like anyone should be, is to help. And if you're helping, then the world's a better place.
So let's dive into some of those. We titled today's topic a better back. What are some of those problems that people have aside from headaches? What are some of those symptoms that you see that potentially could be underlying issues to do with back pain?
Some of the underlying issues that relate to back pain, they often just mirror each other. So for somebody who's waking up first thing in the morning and they're a little bit stiff across their lower back, then that's not ideal. But what that's also doing is it might mean that they're feeling a little bit full into their tummy. They certainly can't go running or exercise, and that might have a flow-on effect where their digestion's nowhere near as good as it should be. We all know that good movement, exercise, good nutrition all affect digestion, and this is just another piece. If it's stopping you from going out exercising, that really important part is not going to be helped. So the tip there would be, if you've got a back issue, seek professional help. All right. Sometimes you're lucky enough for it to go away by itself. If not, if it's persisting, get it sorted out and get on with things. It should be that easy. It doesn't have to be hard. But I think some people think that if it's a lower back issue or if it's any kind of issue that's affecting their lives, that it's a bit like sending man to the moon. The thing is, it's never that complicated. Quite often we just peel a few of the layers back, find out what the issue is, and you're going from that perspective. So the tip there would be, get in there and see somebody you trust. Firstly, somebody who's going to do a proper thorough examination and listen to you, because that's really key. Secondly, if that examination involves imaging, like x-rays or whatever that might look like, get after that. Make sure you go down that, do it thoroughly, because I can't list the number of times that I've done extra imaging or done extra studies and it's come back as absolutely key and instrumental in our decision making. And the patients are always grateful for that opportunity to see what the issue is. Once you get it sorted out, get someone who's going to help you out with a plan, not just a plan to see them in their office, but a plan to give you some health tips and exercises outside of there, because working through these things is a team sport, but you are the captain of your own ship. All right. I am there to give you guidance and some help, but you ultimately hold the responsibility for your health. And then after all this starts going through, get moving again, because movement is life. And don't ever think that you can get away with being lazy, because it will catch up with you at some point in time. So that's would be the tip. Get in there, find somebody who you trust, get moving, and get on with it.
Trust this good-looking man, right? Trust him. David K, doctor from Dynamic Chiropractic, Remuera. When you say a plan, what type of can you give us an example or a story pertaining to a client that might have come in, and so you said that lady who had the headaches, you're obviously producing a plan. It's not about just coming in, doing a bit of back twisting and then sending out. There is an ongoing plan to what most people get treated for.
Right. So when somebody has had an issue that's been evident for a long period of time, quite often we've got to peel it right back. We've got to go back to the beginning and find out what has been genesis of this issue. Why has this started in the first place? For someone, that might mean that they've seen a chiropractor on YouTube and they've gone, okay, well, this is an interesting way of adjusting it. They might have watched one of those videos, those crack videos where you've seen, people get this instant, immediate relief. And quite often it's that piece there. They go, you know what, if I just had that, I'll be all better. Well, if you've just had that, there's a whole bunch of thinking that goes into the process before that happens. And we're getting a lot of people interested in some of the videos that we've published on YouTube, and they come in and say, like, I just want this particular treatment and I want you to get on with it. Well, that's okay. I'm happy to get on with it, but we're going to do this piece on my terms, which is I want to know about you. I want to know how to do it safely. And we're going to make sure that very, very seldom is something a one-hit wonder. Imagine telling your the painter to paint their whole house in one day, and they're going, well, mate, you've actually got a 5-bedroom house, 2 lounges and 4 bathrooms. It's going to take longer than a day. And so if you're just a bit sensible about it, really, and it's about managing someone's expectations. And so I'd really suggest that if somebody wants to plan, they go, righto, your individual needs may be different to somebody else's. So let's just say it's not going to take one visit, but it's not going to take a year. It's going to be somewhere between that, and it's going to be specific to outcomes. And we always test and measure on it as well. What's getting better? What's not changing? What's getting worse? If any of those things. And that's how you do it. Do it properly.
And, yeah, you look, and I think I came and saw you. Had some issues with my lower back. I was due to play golf, and I think the following week, and then whammo! It was I swung better, and for a gay man, I certainly swung very well. I mind you, that was a nice little joke when someone said to you last week at BNI. Was it? Is there anyone else that you haven't been able to? What was it? Fix?
Straighten out.
Straighten up. That's right, John Mabry. Well done. It was a very good.
We pick our audience with those jokes.
We do. Talk us about Dynamic at Remuera. What do you love about the practice?
Dynamic Chiropractic at Remuera. We've got a lot to love here, and that is the people, namely the people. We've got this amazing team. We've got, when I say amazing, I'll probably leave myself last on this list because I'm the least amazing. But my wife's here, Sherry, and she's been a chiropractor now for, I think it's about 25 years. So yeah, I think she just about adjusted Jesus, mate. She's been around for that long. So she's been doing a very good job, and people love her. And so I just try to, slide in on the coattails. The other thing is we've got the two team members out the front. We've got Katie and Casey, who are phenomenal. People love them. They just love them. And then, of course, you can't do that in a vacuum. So we've actually got these beautiful premises. We've got this gorgeous old Californian bungalow that we established this particular clinic in near on 20 years ago. And so we're very fortunate to work out of that. So you walk into this place and it's set up. We've spent a lot of money getting it right. We've got our own X-ray facility. We've got probably some of the nicest equipment you could ever use. Now, again, equipment helps us do the job. It doesn't do the job for us. And we've also just got a really cool community who have also supported us through the thicker times and the thin times, and we like to give back. So that's why Dynamic Chiropractic in Remuera is such a great place to be able to work. And now this is our only clinic. We did have one down at the Viaduct, and after COVID and the lack of work, and the retraction of people from the city for that period of time, we decided best just to consolidate. And as it turned out, that was a great decision to make, to consolidate, come back to one clinic, because now I'm spending a lot more time with my family, as well as offering, I'm not fatigued. And so that means that I get to spend more time with the clients when I'm here, and better quality time, which is also quite rewarding.
Yeah, I was going to ask a day in the life of Dr. David Kay, pre-COVID and post-COVID. What are the key differences now?
A day in the life pre-COVID versus post-COVID. Pre-COVID was everything's a competition. Everything's got to be, we're running from pillar to post. I had a second clinic. Every morning we'd be starting very, very early. And that would be either driving into the city and driving between clinics, because every day I drove between two clinics. We did it because I loved it. I had great visions of growing multiple practices and establishing ourselves as, putting a real stamp on chiropractic and healthcare in Auckland. I believe we did that to the extent that we could. And then then obviously COVID hit, and that knocked the wind out of our sails to a reasonably significant extent. And so now that we decided, we're going to make this work. We're going to look for new premises in our Viaduct clinic when the lease had expired. As it turned out, it all became a little bit too difficult, and we were still in, I think, lockdown 6 or something, whatever New Zealand was in at the time. It was 6.3.4 in the somewhere transitioning between green and gold and red and orange. Anyway, so that's where we got to. Close the clinic down, and that was just pre-Christmas 2021. We've told everybody that, hey, you know what? All your file and all the care, love and attention has not vanished. It's just not at the Viaduct anymore. So we just consolidated, brought it into one clinic. And so from there, I just went, well, with a bit of extra time, what do I do? And fitness and being outside, that was one of the biggest things that I identify with. And so we just started getting back in the pool, started swimming 5 to 6 mornings a week, back out there running, getting fit, doing it properly. And then I get to drop one of my daughters off at school 3 mornings a week, which and I brought it up to her at the school holidays. I said, Maddie, you don't understand. This is the first time in your entire school career, which was 8 years, that I've been able to spend any time with you kids through the school holidays. And when, for them, they don't have to care about it. It's not their thing to care about. But for me, it was pretty amazing. And I went, this is cool. So we take our dog for a walk. We go and enjoy our time together. And whilst they don't care, because it's not a kid's job to care, I care. And that counts for a lot.
And I think that says a lot about the man that I'm talking to, that family comes first, and family comes first for most people. But thank you for telling that story. So just to reiterate, if you have any issues with your back that are stopping you from exercise, or you've got headaches, what are some of those other symptoms you might look for?
Oh, mate, there's a myriad. There's a myriad of symptoms that you might go and see a chiropractor for. The obvious ones are the headache and the sore neck. A bit of discomfort in your lower back with running or exercise. But the other things might be trouble concentrating for long periods of time because you've been stuck in front of a computer. We've been stuck in front of computers for the last 2.5 years. Some people have been doing it for decades. I don't think this is going to be changing. The other thing people are coming to see us for, though, is they just want the energy. They want to get back to the stuff that they used to be able to do. You know what? I used to be able to tie my shoes up. Now I can't. I used to play with the kids. Now I can't. I used to be able to drive 300 yards. Now I'm at 200. These are the sort of stuff where it shines. That's what I want to see. I want to see people who want more from their life. And that's fun and exciting. And when you can, jump on the coattails of that, selfishly, I enjoy it as well. I really enjoy the sense of achievement when you can help somebody get their lives back on track.
100%. Dr. David Kay, thank you so much for our time today. And Dynamic Chiropractic in Remuera, that's dynamicchiropractic.co.nz.